Hello, I'm Po-Shin Huang from Kaohsiung Changge Memorial Hospital in Taiwan. I'd like to summarize our study on the feasibility of single-session whole liver eternity radioembolization for multifocal hepatocellular carcinoma. This work comes from the Department of Diagnostic Radiology at the High Volume Liver Transplant Center. I'm the first author, Po-Shin Huang, and I'd like to acknowledge my corresponding authors, Professor Yufan Chen and Dr. Junyan Yu. Let me start with the problem. Multifocal bilobar HCC is difficult to treat when tumors involve both lobes. Superselective radioembolization is not feasible, and most centers therefore treat one lobe at a time. But stage treatment means multiple procedures and the risk that the untreated lobe progresses. So we ask a simple question: can we safely treat the whole liver in one session? The answer depends on careful patient selection and strict dosimetry. Here is how we did it. This was a retrospective single-center study. Between 2017 and 2024, patients with multifocal HCC and preserved liver function, Child-Pugh A, underwent a planned single-session whole liver treatment. Whole liver meant Y90 intended to cover every hepatic segment with no lobe deliberately spared. Branch portal vein thrombosis was allowed, but main trunk BP4 disease was excluded. Response was assessed by modified RECIST at about 3 months. So who were these 37 patients? Most were men, about 60% with hepatitis B, and 62% were cirrhotic. But liver function was well preserved, with every patient Child-Pugh A and 81% LB grade 1. Where the burden really showed was in the tumors. All were multifocal with a median of 9 nodules. And although the largest tumor had a median of 3 cm, it ranged up to nearly 20. 3/4 were BCLC stage B. This slide is the heart of how we made whole liver treatment safe. Planning used the partition model on NAA SPECT-CT. The critical constraint is the non-tumor liver dose. We aim to keep it within established reference values: 40 gray in non-cirrhotic patients and 30 gray in cirrhotic patients. Long shunts had to stay under 20% with a long dose below 30 gray. And the parameter that makes all of this possible is the tumor to normal ratio. We preferred a TN ratio above 3. That ratio is what lets you deliver a tumoricidal dose across the whole liver while keeping the non-tumor dose close to those reference limits. And these are the doses we actually delivered. The median activity of 1.0 GBq, long shunt was low at 4.1%, so no patient was dose limited by shunting. We achieved a median tumor dose of 129 gray, with a tumor to normal ratio of 4. The non-tumor liver dose stayed within each patient's cirrhosis-specific reference limit in most cases, a median of 30.1 gray. So what happened? At 3 months, complete response was seen in nearly 30% of patients, and partial response in almost half, an objective response rate of 78.4%, and a disease control rate of nearly 95%. The best overall response rate reached 86.5%. That higher disease control likely reflects the comprehensive coverage whole liver treatment provides. But the result that matters most clinically is downstaging. 51.4%, more than half of these patients, were successfully downstaged to within UCSF criteria. Those responses translated into survival. Median overall survival was not reached. 1 and 2 year overall survival were 86.6 and 78.3%. Median progression-free survival was 23.5 months. with 1 and 2 year rates of 56.8 and 46.8%. For 11 patients, downstaging went one step further. These 11, nearly 30%, went on to curative surgery, 10 living donor liver transplant and 1 resection. In that surgical group, 2-year overall survival was 100%, and all 10 transplant recipients remain alive at 3 years. As the curve shows, the patients who reached surgery did markedly better. Safety was our main concern, and it proved acceptable. There were no grade 3 or 4 adverse events, no radioembolization-induced liver disease, and no radiation pneumonitis. Any grade events occurred in 8 patients, 21.6%, and all were grade 1 or 2. 130 patients' Child-Pugh class worsened from A5 to B7, with grade 2 ascites. To show what this looks like in practice, here is our representative case, a 52-year-old man with T2 disease, who had already been through radiofrequency ablation and 3 rounds of tests. He came back with more than 10 recurrent nodules, 1 to 1.5 centimeters, scattered through both lobes, exactly the distribution you cannot trace selectively. His mapping was favorable, a long shunt of 3.7%, and a tumor to normal ratio of 5.5. So we covered the whole liver through both hepatic arteries, 0.3 GBq on the left and 1.1 on the right. At 3 months, NRI showed a complete response, and just 4.4 months after treatment, he went to living donor liver transplantation. The explanted liver is the most compelling evidence we have. All 15 tumors showed 100% necrosis. This is a representative case published in our paper. A case like this is striking, but the study has real limitations. First, it is retrospective, single-center, and small. Second, our doses are pre-treatment NAA-based partition estimates, not post-treatment voxel dosimetry. And third, most patients went on to receive further local, regional, or systemic therapy, so the outcomes reflect the whole treatment strategy rather than Y90 alone. To conclude, in carefully selected patients with multifocal HCC, single-session whole liver Y90 was feasible with acceptable hepatic safety. It achieved a high response rate, downstage more than half of our patients, and may serve as a bridge to curative surgery. So with the right patient selection and strict dosimetry, treating the whole liver in a single session is a viable option. Finally, my sincere thanks to our Y90 team at Kaohsiung Chang'e Memorial Hospital. Thank you for listening.